Most people experience boredom as something negative. When it shows up, the instinct is immediate. You reach for your phone, open an app, play something in the background, or look for anything that will make the feeling go away. That reaction feels natural. Boredom is uncomfortable. It creates restlessness, impatience, and the sense that time is being wasted. Psychologically, though, boredom is not a flaw in your attention. It is a signal. Boredom does not mean you have nothing to do. It means that nothing around you is engaging enough to hold your attention. Neither the outside world nor your inner thoughts feel rewarding in that moment. And that moment matters more than most people realize. When boredom appears, your attention is no longer anchored externally. There is no task fully absorbing you, no stimulation pulling you outward. As a result, your mind turns inward. This is where many people start to feel uneasy. Research shows that when people are bored, their brains do not shut down. Activity increases in areas related to memory, imagination, and future thinking. In other words, boredom creates space for reflection, whether you want it or not. That space is useful, but it is also demanding. It brings up unresolved thoughts, half-formed ideas, questions about direction, and awareness of how you are actually spending your time. For someone who is not used to sitting with their own thoughts, this can feel uncomfortable very quickly. This is one of the reasons boredom is avoided so efficiently today. Modern life offers constant stimulation, notifications, videos, music, endless scrolling. There is almost always something available to capture attention before boredom fully forms. Over time, this changes how attention works. Attention span is not just about focus, it is also about tolerance, the ability to stay with a moment that is not immediately rewarding. When boredom is constantly interrupted, the mind becomes trained to expect stimulation quickly and effortlessly. Psychologically, this reduces patience for depth. Tasks that require sustained attention begin to feel heavier. Silence feels awkward. Stillness feels empty. The mind becomes restless, not because it lacks intelligence, but because it has been conditioned to move on too quickly. Boredom plays an important role here. From a psychological perspective, boredom is a regulatory emotion. It tells you that your current level of stimulation no longer matches your level of awareness. It pushes you towards something more meaningful, more challenging, or more engaging. When boredom is allowed to exist briefly, attention resets. The mind regains sensitivity. Things that once felt dull begin to feel interesting again. This is why boredom is linked to creativity. When attention is not consumed, the mind starts connecting ideas, revisiting memories, and imagining alternatives. This process does not happen when attention is constantly occupied. Boredom also supports long-term thinking. In quiet moments, people naturally reflect on their lives, their goals, and their direction. Psychologists refer to this as autobiographical planning. It is one of the ways humans make sense of who they are and where they are going. If boredom is always avoided, this kind of thinking rarely occurs. There is also an important distinction to make. Boredom is not the same as apathy. Apathy is disengagement from meaning altogether. Boredom is dissatisfaction with the present state and a push towards something better. In healthy amounts, boredom is a sign that the mind is working properly. People who can tolerate boredom tend to have a more stable attention span. They are less reactive and less dependent on constant stimulation. They can stay with thoughts longer, explore ideas more deeply, and engage with tasks without needing immediate reward. This does not mean boredom should be prolonged or extreme. Chronic understimulation, especially without choice, is harmful, but the inability to tolerate even short periods of boredom often indicates that attention has been trained outward for too long. If you notice yourself avoiding boredom quickly, that awareness itself is meaningful. It suggests that you are paying attention to how your mind works, not just what it consumes. Boredom is uncomfortable because it asks something of you. It asks you to slow down, to notice, and to engage more deliberately with your inner world. That is not easy, but it is valuable. In that sense, boredom is good for you, not because it feels pleasant, but because it restores depth to attention and clarity to thought. And people who understand that are usually more self-aware than they realize. This channel focuses on explaining everyday psychological patterns that shape how we think and behave without us noticing. If understanding yourself at this level matters to you, you may want to stay